Now before we add our next page buttons, it's good to know where these next page buttons are. So as you can see on page 1, we have a next page button. When we click that, we go to page 2, and when you click that, we go to page 3, but the next page button has now gone from page 3. We get to select where we want to go. So whatever we pick, the next page button comes back and we can keep clicking through. So we must remember that on page 3, our next page button has gone, as well as any of our ending pages. In this video, we're going to add script to our next page button. The next page button will then, once clicked on it, will go to the next page. What we need to use is the if and then event. As you can see on the screen, we've added some operators to the green diamond shaped object. Now we have if costume name of text. Now text is the name of our sprite, and those sprites are our text boxes, and each that text box sprite has a costume P1, P2, P3 that corresponds to each of the pages. So we can see here, when we click the next button, if the costume name of the text sprite, the text box that is equal to P1. So if you're on page 1, then something will happen. So as you can see, we have the next page button in place, and we have a text box down below. So what we do, we select on event. So when somebody clicks the next page button, we're going to add an if, then an else block. So what we need is an operator, and we're going to have if something is equal to something, then something else will happen. So we'll have a look at the exposition one. We can add that in. So if the costume name of our text sprite, so if on the screen our text box, if it is on page 1, we type in P1, and that's the reason we've labeled those P1, P2, then we're going to tell everything else that we need to now go to page 2. Because if we're on page 1 now, if I click the next page button, it means we need to go onto page 2. Now, if we're not on page 1, we need something else to happen. So we need to add another if and then. So we add another if that equals something, and this time we're going to add the same blue sensing. So if our costume name of our text box sprite is equal to page 2. So if we are currently on page 2, then we want to tell everybody to broadcast we want to go to page 3. So we need to make a new message and put in page 3. Now we keep doing that for most of the pages.